Good evening and welcome to Only One United Talking Reds. We're back. It's not just me on a watch along having a go at bad commentary, and we're now back to our usual Friday night situation with some great guests tonight. Atana, how you doing?
Hi Andy, yes, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on again.
No, it's good to have you on. And Maisy's back, as it's now been called. Also, hi Maisy.
Hey there, how are you? Yeah, finally back, but I might look a little bit different. I'm a little bit more browner than what I did
Oh, you,
like couple of
you didn't mention it at all in the watch along.
No, well, you don't want to obviously look here because it's quite white, but yeah, just look at my pretty tan face instead.
Okay. And Namrata, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me. Finally, 1 hour earlier.
Yes, I forget when me. I was saying, was it what? I think was that the Old Trafford game, wasn't it? Me and
Yeah.
obviously friend of the show, me and Chloe were like absolutely knackered, like yawning our heads off because of the hour, thinking about you two having a party in India because it was easier for you to those. And we're like basically jet lagged, going, "Where's the coffee?" And I'm thinking the only people who's happy are people that are in India. But yeah, no, it was one of them, wasn't it? But no, obviously, so internationals are now done. Thank God. We might get into whether or not it's a great time to do internationals just, before the last 3 games of the season. But obviously, top line results for England initially to start off with. It was, in North Macedonia, which Atanu now knows where that is. North Macedonia 10. England 10. That would have been funny, wouldn't it? North Macedonia 0. With Beth Mead scoring 4. United fan, so we can kind of try and get a bit of credit for that. Ella Toon obviously got a hat trick, which is fantastic, and Grandma, also known as Ellen White, got 1 goal. And
Born offside.
Yeah, born offside. No,
Offside queen.
Offside queen. And Georgia Stanway scored 2 goals, and more importantly, actually didn't get a yellow or a red. So well done to Georgia. Atanu, obviously you were with me on the watch along. What's your memories of the game, apart from now you know where North Macedonia is?
Yeah, that was a big revelation where North Macedonia is, and the highlight of the game was United player scoring a hat trick and getting the match ball. Tooney another great assist, and I agree. Beth Mead a United fan, so we'll consider that in our bag as well. So 7 goals from a United player, if we can call it that. Um, I think it was a one-sided game at the end of the day. I remember how Andy and I were
Really?
like, yeah.
Would never have guessed.
I remember how Andy and I were like, I think they defeated, like Northern Ireland defeated North Macedonia 11-0. So Andy and I were like, yes, like England have to score more than 11 goals, but they scored 10. So that was a bit disheartening, but yeah. Yeah, I think I would have loved to see Katie Selam in that game just because I don't get the fact that Sarina calls her up every time and then she hasn't even got a start till now. So a game like North Macedonia would have been good for her.
I think it shows Katie's impact that you've forgotten that she was subbed on.
She hasn't started. I think I mentioned she hasn't started.
Game changer.
Yeah, game changer. There you go. Total game changer.
Super sub.
Super something. But yeah, and obviously the headline goal again for Northern Ireland, which was a much closer game. Well, literally half as close. England 5, Northern Ireland 0, with 2 for Lauren Hemp, 1 for Ella Toon, and 2 again for Georgia Stanway. I don't mind her scoring in white. It's when she's in pale blue that I'm slightly worried, to be honest. But yeah, again, Maisy, obviously you did the watch along with me on that. When you sort of hear about Ella started hitting form with England by scoring 3 and then scoring 1 with North Macedonia, it's only going to be good news for United, isn't it?
Yeah, Yeah, of course, it is only going to be good news. And when you're getting that kind of confidence for your country, a lot of players tend to bring that back to the club. If you could have a ball for an assist, you could have had even a match day ball for that as well, because she did plenty of assists there in the Northern Ireland game. I think, though, she's been outstanding. She's been outstanding for club. She's been outstanding for country. She deserves to play them full 90. But that is just my only concern, is that I don't want her to feel too burnt out to play full 90 all the time at Man United, then play the full 90 all the time for international, especially knowing that it's just a World Cup qualifier. I'd rather have her come on as a substitute or take her off 70th minute, just something like that. Because if it was a actual Euros, a World Cup, I'd understand, but I suppose you can't have it always, though. But absolutely incredible there. And I do feel like, for me, in terms of England in itself, it just felt like the midfield was quite unbalanced. But once it did get changed, we've seen the best out of Ella too.
Yeah, no, completely. Obviously, we want to make sure that we get the best out of in the next 3 games, which is obviously Villa away next week on Sunday, and then West Ham at home, and then the big one. You can hear the dum 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 in the back of my head, which is Chelsea away, where I'm obviously going to age 20 years, and hopefully we'll get a result. Namrata, obviously, when you're hearing about these goals and you're seeing that, obviously, Ella actually didn't look that tired either. She looked quite good fitness-wise. Again, it's only good news, isn't it, for hopefully for next week?
Yeah, I think Tooley's been playing both for England and United for a while now. I think ever since Serena came, she's kind of one of the first names on the team sheet. So, and she plays all 90 for United all the time. So, I'm not really that concerned about her fitness. I think, she's one of the fitter players that we have. The only concern is end of last season, she looked absolutely knackered. So really hope that, she can kind of keep her fitness for the last 3 games, because we don't have a very fit squad in the first place. Kind of disappointed that Alessia did not get to play a lot, because I think she's England's most informed striker. As a United fan, on one hand, you feel good that, she's not, there's no risk of injury if she doesn't play. But then you also hope that she plays a few minutes so that she's in the, she has those minutes under her belt, and, there's not a big gap in playing minutes for her. So now she comes back, it's as if she hasn't missed a beat. So I think overall a good couple of matches for both Leslie and Tony. And I think Zellem did not get as many minutes, but good to see her actually on the pitch and contributing a little bit. So yeah, I think the 3 of us, the 3 of those players, I think will finally be, I think all 3, especially with the news coming out that Fran Kirby will not be fit for the Euros. Really sad for her. She's had like really bad injury situation last World Cup as well. So, but I think that kind of, hopefully, if they are fit, I think that kind of guarantees Tony and Zellem as well going to the Euros.
Yeah, and this is it. And I think, obviously, bad news about Fran Kirby. Obviously, we wish her well. I know she's obviously an opposition player, but, it's to fight through what she's fought for and to fall back on it. She's not that old. And if it could be a massive effect on her career. Obviously, you could say good news for United in the sense of the final game of the season. But, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And to get in the Champions League, we're going to play teams either equal to or better than Chelsea. So you always, I suppose, want to be the best team in front of you, and then go from there. There's also some other good news that Serena put a nice little bow on for the second game. She went, "Here you go, United fans," and it related to literally England's number 1, didn't it, Atanu?
Numero uno. So Marriott is the numero uno for England. So yeah, that was good news. I think there's a tough competition for the goalkeeper spot when it comes to the England national team. There are many players who haven't been able to get into the England team, but it feels nice that a United player will represent England at the Euros, their national team at the Euros. So this Marriott's redemption arc is one for the books, one for the history books, and I'm all in for it.
Isn't it England's redemption arc though? Because she's been really good for a long, long time. Just like she's been going, yoo-hoo, hello, and they've just been ignoring it because she doesn't have a city badge on.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. She wasn't the Manchester City Lioness, and now we are moving into Manchester United Lionesses, because I'm quite hopeful that half of the team will be of Manchester United for the England team. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think obviously hi to everyone in the comments as well. Hi, Nat. And yeah, no, definitely. What was that?
I actually have one thing to say about that Mary Earp's redemption girl. I think there was an interview where she wasn't getting picked for the England squad, and she gave an interview where she says that she looks forward to United fans for fighting on her behalf, because she expects every United fan to be fighting for her to get in, because
cool.
I think she said something like that. I kind of can't recall, but she did say, that's something that she feels. And I do remember, like, when she was dropped, it was a constant war between United fans and rest of the WSL fans about how Mary deserves to be in the top, at least deserves to be called up. And now she's England's number one. It's not just her redemption curve, but it's almost like my redemption curve as well.
No, it is, and it's great. It's great to see, and we know how good she is anyway, and she brings something different as a goalkeeper to United. I mean, Ellie Roebuck is number 2, and then that's a great number 2, and we've seen how quickly, like with Frank Kirby today, things can turn, and you'd always want that as a second choice. And Hannah Hampton seems to be developing well, but I mean, Maisy, I would just sort of link with that. I mean, it shouldn't be that any international team is insert top 3 team here and friends, but it seems to be the case with WSL with Man City and friends, and now obviously someone might say there's more Man United players in, but it's got to give us confidence as United fans, United players when they go back to their clubs this week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely going to give some confidence, and I always say that a player should go into their country when they're in good form for their club. If they're playing good for your club, that should be treated as a reward, that you should be allowed to play for your country. When it does come, of course, to other situations like World Cup Euros, that's different. But when you are looking at qualifiers, because the qualifiers really, you only have to play a couple of games to qualify, that should be the ones where you are literally in your good form for your club. At the end of the day, the club is the one what pays the wages. And if the club didn't feel satisfied that this player is going to come in because they're not playing well, the club should really say, no, I don't want them to play, to stay in here. I do feel like there is more Manchester United players who is in the England squad, but I feel like as well there could be more who could go in. Leah Galton, she could be one who could potentially go in one time. There's another Mannion, when she was fully fit, she didn't even get a look in.
Yeah.
There is some kind of things where there is still friendly biases towards, for me, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester City, and that's always because it's that top big 3 kind of thing. But I think it always should be based off form, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, we joked about it on Tuesday with Namrata. I'm a bit old-fashioned, you see. I think that if literally, what does a loan mean? I literally don't want you in my squad, so I will loan you to somebody else. Or you could phrase it differently: I don't need you in the squad, so I will loan you to somebody else. So if City doesn't need Jill Scott and literally gives her away to Villa, then how come she gets to play in it as a defender?
I think with Jill Scott, I think if you look at the kind of midfielders that England have, I think the position that Jill Scott plays in, they don't really have a lot of players in that situation. So Jill Scott is or was, your choice. But she was pretty good as the number 8, the box-to-box midfielder. And I think right now, if you look at it, I don't think they have a lot of options in that sense. Essentially, what they want is a Jackie Groenen kind of midfielder, and they don't have that. So I think the thought process probably is, because Steph Steph Houghton isn't there as well, so they don't have
as much as everybody's trying, she's not there at the moment. Yeah,
she's not there, and so they don't have the whole, the wealth of experience that she brings in. So I think they probably need a couple of people to kind of guide. It's going to be a hugely pressure-driven cup competition for them. So I think they have to go for Jill Scott because they don't have Steph. And I think because they don't have those kind of midfielders, they probably just, they're taking Scott along, just as a backup in that situation. But, if they're going to go and start her ahead of so many good midfielders that they have right now who are on form, for club, I think that is where I'll have problems.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. I'm just looking at it now, and there's not many players I can say this about, but she's actually older than me. She's 35, and yeah, I suppose if she gives that experience, in relation to the squad, but it's just a bit of an idea with me that if you're loaning somebody, you're saying that they're surplus to requirements. So why are we picking it? I mean, is she? I think you might know her a bit better than I do, Maisy. Is she a defensive midfielder? Did you say?
Yeah, I think she is more of a defensive type of midfielder, and the other defensive midfielder there is Kira Walsh, and we've seen that Kira Walsh is starting these games. I think Kira Walsh is a bit more. She's how could I say, a bit more of a modern day type of defensive midfielder, to the respect that you look at defensive midfielders from the past and they're a bit like I'm just a big massive rock in front of the centre backs and I'll just defend you. I'll just defend in front of you. But I feel like with Kira Walsh is a little bit different in terms of her passing ability, and I think that's why she will always get chose over Jill Scott. And I think with Jill Scott, she is a bit more of the older type of the more
literally
not older type, but a different type of defensive midfielder, which you could argue that is going a little bit outdated now in these kind of days of football. Because I'd probably say in the next 5 to 10 years, you probably are going to see a lot more of a Kira Walsh type of defensive midfielder rather than a Jill Scott.
Obviously, I can see Atanu here because he's got a direct link to Skinner. I know he's a big fan. So would you and Skinner be shouting Katie Zellum if it's defensive mid? Why is Katie not starting?
Not a defensive mid. I think she's more of an advanced number 8. Like she can control the tempo of the game and then put in those long balls that we sometimes hate. But yeah, I think that and set pieces as well. So yeah, I think those are her key areas.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And obviously, England's looking good. And I like Serena because she has broken away, as we just sort of touched on. She's broken away from this sort of dominant club by saying that, that Mary Earps is England's number one. It gives her that confidence as well. Hopefully, it's going to give her that confidence for us, as I say, in the next few games. I suppose it's going to put fire in the belly for Roebuck as well, if she feels she can topple her. But again, there's only so many. There's only 3 games left, and obviously 4 games, I think, for City because they had an issue with COVID with Birmingham, and that Birmingham game has been rearranged for the final midweek of the season. So most likely that Birmingham will be down when they play them. So again, goal difference, Mark, is quite a big issue. So Namrata, obviously, it's been all right having these international games, but our season's so short. It's a bit of a strange time to have it, isn't it? With 3 games left.
Yeah, I think I don't think any of the international breaks are well timed. I think it's with WSL, it's always like you're kind of really getting into the swing of things, and then suddenly you have international breaks. The only time we did not have international breaks was in February, and we don't talk about February here. So, I think definitely. I think I'm not sure if it came at a good time for us or not because we seem to be struggling. We got some points, but I think maybe we needed that bit of reset. But now the players are coming in 3 must-win games and must-win by huge margins kind of game. So, I mean, I'm really hopeful that all the players kind of came back fit and healthy because at this point in time, we cannot afford any injuries whatsoever. And good thing that they all won games, so they'll be coming in with a positive mindset. And um, last camp before Euros, so they're all going to be charged up as well. Next up is Euros. They're all going to be excited. So I'm okay, but thankfully it's gone. Now we can go back to the 3 cup finals that we have in front of us.
We do. We have 3 massive cup finals. As I say, starting a week on Sunday away at Villa, which I think, obviously going back to what Namrata was saying, we needed it, I think, to sort of get a bit healthy. Obviously, Signe Brun, we needed to start scoring and storing quickly, don't we, from Villa, Maisy?
Yeah, we definitely do. I think it is very hard for a player to try and make a big, massive impact in a couple of months, especially knowing that she's had 2 international breaks since she's come through, and she's had injuries. It's going to be very, very difficult, and you can tell that she does want to have them scoring boots on, because apart from that Old Trafford game, the only game she has really played were against Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, and especially when you have got teams who have got a well-structured defence, it's going to be a big, massive struggle for Brun, because I feel like them kind of games, Martha Thomas is well suited because she's more suited for narrow spaces, and we don't really 100% know at this moment in time what really suits Brun into this Manchester United team. So it feels like a little bit of an experiment, I'd like to say, because you don't know whether...
What, from Skinner? No.
Well, he did experiment with Katie Zelm as a centre-back, though, didn't he?
Well, I thought he experimented with Katie Zelm as a second coming of Christ, didn't he?
I think desperation is the word with Katie Zelm in centre-back.
Yeah, it was desperation, I will be honest. But because sometimes when you do look at a striker, you don't know whether you can suit a whole different formation what Skinner isn't using, or is she more suited for 2 players, a player alongside her up front? You really just don't know that, and we do need for her to at least have the 1 goal, just so she can feel like, yes, I have done it. I know what the WSL is like. I've got my first goal. Just so you feel a little bit more comfortable once you've done that.
Yeah, no, completely. And obviously, I brought up Niall's question here about what are the thoughts on the shortlist of the Scottish Women's Player of the Year. Not sure if we've seen it. We haven't, we'll be honest. But I assume that Martha Thomas is on it. And I suppose that's what links to it, because it's interesting because, you see with Signe Brun, she blew it away in her native Norway. She's very, very strong for Leon. They didn't get much game time. And I know she's been injured, and I'm hoping that she's going to hit the ground running. But I suppose what is pleasing, isn't it, as well, guys, and Atanu, is Martha Thomas is ticking up a little bit. I thought she might go a bit quiet when this other striker came along. And it looks like she's took some opportunities to try and say, well, this is my shirt, alongside Ruth, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, the question is to me, right?
Yeah.
So I think even in the Spain game, like, I saw some of the highlights, and she did score a goal, which was later termed as offside. So that is happening a lot, be it a correct decision or a wrong decision. But Martha Thomas on the right wing, interchanging with Alessia Russo as the striker in between the game. Yes, she has been really good. There have been some positive instances from Martha Thomas's game, but I still feel that she isn't her confident self right now, because there are times when it's so easy to score a goal. Like, I'm judging it sitting from home, so I obviously don't know what is going through her mind at that instant. But I think she's lacking that confidence of scoring a goal. Other than that, I think she's been really good. In the opening minutes of the last game, she played really well. Her runs inside the boxes were really good. But it's about the whole 90 minutes. So I think there are several aspects to her game that needs to be improved. But in the absence of key players in whatever injury crisis we are going through right now, so I think Martha Thomas has stepped up really well on the right wing.
Yeah, what's your view on Martha Namrata? Are you like me, that I thought she'd kind of disappear and Brun would come in and take over a little bit and be sort of second striker with Russo? I'm quite surprised she's holding her own a little bit.
I have a different view from everyone else. I just think if you're a striker, you have to score goals.
Yeah.
It's great. She's working hard, and she's putting in the shift. She should have got a goal at Old Trafford. Yeah, and she's been unlucky in that sense as well. But I think if she's there on the pitch in number 9 role, you need goals, right? And the question then becomes, so Brune, obviously she's been injured, so we don't know how she would have fared. But I think the question really is that, let's say both of them are fit, who would you rather put your money on to score a goal? And even though I know Brune hasn't scored a goal till now, but I would put my money there. And I think what's really concerning is, she's kind of turning into like Hansen was a few years back, I suppose, where she put in all the shift. She worked really hard on the wing, but there wasn't any end product. She would still score goals here and there, but Leah didn't score that many goals as well, but now she's scoring a lot of goals. So she's improved that part of the game. And for me, to be the number 9, you need to score goals. And I don't think she's done that. And, if Alessia was in such red hot form, we would actually be struggling really badly to score goals. And it's only because Alessia has been in red hot form, she's been incredible, that we're just getting any points at all. So, I think she's been good. She's worked hard, but maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but for me, she's still somebody who is a squad player. And if we have another number 9 or a right wing who's of better quality, I would definitely bring them in.
Yeah, no, this is it. I suppose it's very easy. You sort of go through the 7 stages of grief when you watch United, and like we were watching against when we played against the last game against Brighton. We were more relieved that we scraped 1 goal, and the goal was quite bubbly. It wasn't exactly smashed in the net. But the thing is, if we win 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, we're probably still not going to get Champions League because City are going to use Leicester as target practice. And Birmingham is just going to fall over as well. So I think we need to get the goal scoring. Go on.
Yeah, sorry, just complete. I just wanted to say one more point there.
Yeah, free.
Yeah, I think what also happens is that when you have Martha Thomas and Leslie playing, most of the defenders kind of focus on Leslie, and so Martha Thomas has more space and she's able to do her thing. I saw when Brune was playing, she's able to pick those spaces really well. So defenders, they were kind of split. They had to cover both Lesia and Brune. I think right now, if you look at all the goals that Leslie scored, it's always come, I would call it individual brilliance. None of the goals were easy goals which she should have scored. So I think for us to score a lot of goals, we need, of course, Leslie is going to continue her form, but we need another player to be challenging the defenders for another goal. There have to be more outlets for us to score goals. And I just think that right now, that is not something we're getting from Martha Thomas.
Yeah, it's true. But I'm seeing her tick up a little bit. She's got a bit more fight in her than I thought she had.
Yeah.
Which I suppose it still might end in the same road for her. But I suppose she's used to being injured and she's now back fit and she isn't. So I'm glad she's getting the opportunity. But I might get some hate on the fan base on this. But why can a certain player score in orange but not red, Maisy?
It's a tough one, to be honest.
And she scores a lot in orange.
Yeah, she does score a lot, and a lot of people say, let's get some orange in a Man United shirt, might be able to score, but...
Hey, away kit, because look at the state of the league to away kits or third kits. I think we might as well go with orange.
I think for me, though, it's always depending on how the team is formed and how the team complements that player a lot better. If you, for instance, you look at it, Jackie has played more of in the pivot this season alongside Katie Zellum. She hasn't played alongside a proper CDM role like a Hayley Ladd, where Hayley Ladd can sit back and then Jackie is able to free flow a lot. Because I've noticed in a lot of these games, it seems like they're both taking it in turns a little bit. One time Jackie stays back, another time Katie Zellum stays back. And you're not going to get the best out of your players when you're not playing them in their natural position. You may give 100% effort, but if you're not going to be that 100% player every single time. And what I have noticed in the Netherlands shirt, she is playing the way that she wants to play, the role she wants to play. So I think it's all just all dependent because of how Manchester United is set up at the moment. And I just don't think that the way Manchester United is set up is how Jackie is really that Jackie's not getting the best out of. And we've seen in the past as well. I know it was a defeat, but Chelsea, you've seen link-up plays with Jackie and Bo Risa. Why not take the risk, do it again? We know what Bo Risa is capable of. We know she's been a great player for us, and I actually think that, I actually think that she is. We play better with her. I really do. I think we do play better with Bo Risa, and I would love to see some more Jackie Cronin and Bo Risa partnership. I don't know if that's going to happen again this season, but we just need to look at trying to do something to try and get the best out of Jackie. And we're not going to get the best out of her whilst Jade Moore is sat on the bench, who is a defensive midfielder, and Hayley Laddie is playing as a centre-back. Our midfield isn't always going to be completely balanced without a proper CDM for me.
Yeah, those are very good points. I mean, you would think if you were Skinner, you'd do anything and everything to get these 3 games in the books and to win them, because Champions League, it turns the narrative around. If he gets Champions League, first season in charge, rocking up essentially near his damn it end of August, that's a heck of a tick on his CV. It's going to give him the confidence next year. More players are going to come. But I do worry because I don't think he's got goal difference in his head. And I've heard from other people that have spoken to Skinner that he's not mentioned goal difference once. It's like one of those weird fever dreams where I'm just shouting and nobody's hearing me. Goal difference, goal difference, goal difference. Do you think he wants Champions League this season? In reality, Namrata, or do you think he wants to do another building year and try and have another go at it next year?
I think he definitely wants Champions League. I don't think he feels that he needs Champions League. I think he talks a lot about the process and having 2-3 year plans, and he was saying something success does not come like this, it comes like whatever.
There you go.
But
Red way.
no idea what he says at times, but I think what I just feel that he ever since he's come here, I've not really seen that. He obviously says that this club should be in Champions League and we want to be in Champions League, but I haven't seen it from him in terms of him actually say. I haven't seen that desperation in him that you could see in Casey last season. Casey last season, you could see that maniacal thing in her where she's like, yeah, we need to get Champions League, guys. We have to win Ethan Christensen huge salaries. We definitely need to get Champions League. I haven't really seen Mark Skinner like that in interviews. And I think even the way he plays, I think especially us defending that 1-goal lead, I think he probably sees that if we get Champions League, it's great. But I think the way he looks at it is a 2-3 year process, and I think he would be fine if we don't get Champions League right now, because I think for him it's going to be an advantage because he will have 1 more year to build the team the way he wants to build them, and not just really because if we get into Champions League right now, I mean, we all want to get Champions League, but if we think about getting into Champions League and staying there, it's a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
If we get into Champions League right now with the squad, you'll have to change 6-7 players. We know we're not going to do that in one transfer window, but can we do that in 2 seasons? Can we build a squad that's not just capable of getting there, but even getting to the group stage is a bit difficult now. What if you'll face Atletico, you'll face Real Madrid, you'll face a lot of the teams which come second, you can face them in the qualifiers. So I think from him, maybe there's this place that, maybe he needs time to build his team. And if we get into Champions League, it's going to be fast forward, and he's not going to get his way. And we'll probably get some half-baked situation where we get a few top players, we just replace a few squad players. So maybe that's what he thinks. But I think, as fans, I expect to get Champions League.
Yeah.
Does not matter who's the player, who's the coach.
No, 100%, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous. There's this weird mini tournament that starts at the end of July, beginning of August, which is like a one day thing or some weird rubbish, and they're not really expecting anyone to be watching. Wait till they see us lot like just rocking up to wherever it's going to be. It's in one location in Europe. It's not been announced yet. And then obviously the second round, as City will remember because they got knocked out, was as you say, where you could play home and away against theoretically another sort of second or third level team, someone like Real Madrid that have pushed Barcelona quite close a few times, and and I think it's so
you could face PSG or Lyon in qualifiers.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh, I can just see that one now. But obviously, we'll get into that. But I suppose there's one thing that Mark's never done, and this was even after Chelsea. You never said in the women's game. I noticed. I'm sure you're aware. If you go through the patterns, when a team concedes a goal, they concede a second one in a very, very short period of time. Right through the whole spectrum of the women's game, because girls and women are more emotional than men, so they take a goal going in not very well. So, Atanu, do you think girls? No, I'm not going to do that. That'd be really, really bad. I'm very tempted. No, go on. We'll just open that one up. I'm just going to call him what he is. I don't think a dinosaur that views his players like that should be anywhere near a pitch. And that would be enough for me to tell him to go to the retirement home where he belongs. What's your view on that, Maisy?
I was reading it and I was like, wow. Like, of course, people do get emotional in games. It's just the whole part of that. It's not about genders at the end of the day of why people get emotional. Like, you as a supporter myself, I support the men's team as well as the women's team. So you look at for instance, the Euro final.
Yeah.
All the England players were crying. So, what does that have to do with a goal being females feeling upset over a goal being conceded? The exact same happened for the men during the Euros. Maybe they might. I don't know. I really don't know where all this has truly come from, and I was just absolutely gobsmacked hearing it all. And this is what the problem is, and why people think, about men. That's why a lot of people think, oh my god, they get just because of a little comments like that. I know he's apologized, but yeah, when you're a manager who is managing a female team, he needs to be very, very mindful of what he says.
No, completely. And I'd also say, if he'd said that about race, if he said black players were slower or quicker or anything like that, he would never ever get back. If he said it about sexual orientation, I don't understand why it's okay for him to just apologize and move on. I mean, was your blood boiling as much as mine was when you heard about it, Namrata?
Sad. Actually, I don't know if it's sad or not, but I wasn't very surprised because it's nothing new, right? It's really sad that I have to say that, but it's not just women's football or in women's sport where you say that. It's a very widely used excuse where you use that to just say that women are not as competent in their job as men. So if you look at the corporate world, right, if you look at high-paying jobs, stressful jobs, pressure jobs, most of the times, if you're going to hire somebody at these top positions, you see that all the time that women are kind of cast aside because they're seen as more emotional. They want somebody who's ruthless, who's emotionless, who's this macho personality to be leading, an organization or a team at the top level. But then, and I think one of the reasons they don't excuse. So one of the excuses that they use is that, well, women are a lot more emotional. They will not be able to sustain this high pressure situations. And it's absolutely bullshit. I just say, I'm sorry for using that word, but
No, it's
it's
fine.
just, and it's a very emotion. It's a very complex word. Emotion is one word that has like thousands of feelings behind them. You can use that word in any sentence, and the meaning of that word and meaning of that whole thing will change. And I'll give you an example of this. I think a couple of years back there was an interview with Casey Stoney where she was talking about her time as the England captain. And she mentioned that, she was talking about the role of a captain in women's football. And she said that women are more emotional than men. So the role of a captain in women's football is not just to lead them on the pitch, but also to be there, listen to them, be that calming influence and all of that. So if you look at this, Casey Stoney herself was saying, okay, women are different, and women's football has to accommodate that. If you look at it, it's kind of very similar to what the Northern Ireland coach said, but there's huge difference, because while Casey was using this as something to explain how you create an environment which is safe and which is positive for women, the Northern Ireland manager kind of just generalized this, which is absolutely not true. You can just, I mean, it's backed by stats. Yeah, it's absolutely not true, but it's just generalizing that behavior and putting it across all women. And what I feel really concerned about, and Gareth Taylor today, there was a tweet about how he backed up the Northern Ireland manager, saying, "Oh, I know him. I work with him. He's a really good guy." Who cares if he's a really good guy? If he's got if he has that mentality, he should not be there managing. And these are the guys who are actually said it out loud. What I am really scared about is that all throughout the women's football pyramid, there'll be a lot of people, both men and women, who will probably think that, this is a situation that women are more emotional, and so that's why they do these things. And just imagine the kind of conditioning that women's football players have to go through, and how much more difficult for them it is to, be successful in such an environment. So yeah, absolutely.
It's a catch 22. I think that's almost like Namrata's done a mic drop then, but I think it was a technical problem. So we'll let it back in a minute. But for me, I think it's one of those things where, like, it's a catch 22 situation. The word emotional means if you don't challenge it, you legitimize the point. If you rightly, I'll start. I think Namrata's coming back now. Hopefully you're back. I was saying it was like your mic drop moment. Then you sort of mic dropped and disappeared on us.
That was not planned.
I'll start with saying I haven't missed anything. I was just saying that's, I think, about the word emotional, which is so difficult, isn't it? Because it's a catch-22. If you don't react to what he said, you legitimize it as a legitimate point. If you quite rightly think he's an absolute utter moron that should be nowhere near the women's game, then you can be deemed as being emotional, and you kind of prove his point in relation to in some people's views. And I think it's quite interesting as well, because I don't mean it, but it didn't get as much traction on it. But I believe the Northern Ireland captain came back and actually said that she backed him, and that, I've always complimented him publicly on how he gets the best out of his players individually and collectively. He's a man of integrity, cares of us like we're family. He's transformed the game in Northern Ireland. Well, to be honest, I can't be bothered reading the rest of it. I don't really care, to be honest, what he's done. There's other people that can actually, I think achieve better. Got some few comments in there as well. Has it not been taken out of context? You read the statement from the skipper. It's something that was discussed with the players in the team meeting prior to the statement. I mean, possibly you could say that. I think, to be honest, this is a guy who I believe when he was managing Irish teams got used to defense that he was too emotional, or his doctor told him to stop doing press conferences. And I think, I think it's one of those where, it kind of damage done, really, isn't it? I mean, if you say, he's not the youngest guy in the world. I would be quite happy to give somebody else another chance. What's your view on it, Atanu, anyway? But now I'll bring you in on the general topic.
I think this is something that shouldn't have been said, that shouldn't even be thought by someone, that women are more emotional than men. We saw, like, I'll bring up two examples. I guess everybody has mentioned this. In the Champions League for the men's, there was a huge, you might call it a fight or anything, just because there wasn't a good result. So players got into the fight. So that's emotion. That at the end of the day, that's also emotion. Emotion isn't just about crying, isn't just about being angry. Emotion has different things, has different meanings. And then we saw Ronaldo throw the phone out of a fan's hand. So I think that's also emotion at the end of the day. And I really like the thing that Namrata said, that it really worries us, because at the end of the day, if this continues over a period of time, what if the next generation of the players that's coming in, they feel the same way, like they are groomed that way, that you are more emotional than men, so you have to play differently than men play. So I think it's a very dangerous precedent that we are in right now. So I actually don't agree, like nobody agrees to what the Northern Ireland manager said, and the players coming out in support of him, call it loyalty, call it whatever, but at the end of the day, if he was a different national team's manager, will the same players who are defending him today defend him then as well?
Yeah. Obviously, Namrata's back on audio now. She's just a voice from afar now, but we can deal with that. I mean, I think it's one of those where we have to bring it up, but I think there's an English saying over here, which is sunlight is the best disinfectant. And I think hopefully, sticking a massive spotlight in his face and showing that it's an unacceptable view to hold will hopefully make him realise that, that we shouldn't really be, he shouldn't really be saying anything like that. But I do find it disappointing that, as I said, it's almost been legitimised by the fact that a captain has defended him. But yeah, no, I'm right. I think you have another point as well.
Yeah, I think I saw that in the comment as well and on Twitter, that the players have come out and backed him, saying it is something that they discussed beforehand. Uh, I think it's I think when you look at somebody who is in the position of a national team manager, uh, there are just some things that you don't say because people look up to you, right? People look up to that team, and you know, optics, whatever you say, is quite important, especially when you're growing women's football, right? Um, it's something which is in context for you within the team because they discussed it, but out wide in the world, it's a very different context. And at least the one thing which I will give it to them is that he came out and apologized really quickly. But I don't think, even if you have discussed it with the team, it just doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right to say that the entire race of women are more emotional, and then they let in goals quickly. He didn't say my team is emotional and they let in goals quickly. He said women,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
emotional and they let in goals quickly. So it's great that the players that he has, his team of players, are coming out and saying, well, it wasn't something we took as harmful, but it still sends out a really bad message, and it just says that there's something there, right? That has, I mean, the entire context is just laughable. Yeah.
yeah. No, completely. Maisy. I mean, as you say, I mean, isn't that just gaslighting and just bad management that deserves? Management is a performance job. What have you done? What have you done with me lately? For me lately, And if you're trying to sort of work out on a sort of, a psychological perspective, if you're trying to help them out, if I'm a manager and I sit down and I say to you, I say, right now, you let goals in, and it's because as women you're more emotional. Why shouldn't I get punched in the face? Never mind legitimized.
Well, I must be honest, if one of my managers has ever said that to me, I would not be very happy. And I don't. It's just one of them kind of things, isn't it? You need to have, when you have in a women's team, you need to have that level of respect for your players. And him saying that, it's kind of degrading his players to say, well, my players are emotional because they're female, and that shouldn't be the case whatsoever. Sometimes some people would potentially protest. You've seen protests before. I can't remember what it was, but what team it was. But the women's team like stopped playing because the director who they did have, he was in prison for something to do with what he's done to a female. So in them kind of respects, even that could really help. But you need to have a level of respect for your players, and that just shows a level of disrespect for me.
Yeah, it is. But obviously, we're not going to see them again, I suppose, until the Euros, where we can hopefully. No, they're in our group.
Oh no!
so we are going to see them again, but hopefully we can show them how emotional we can be when we smash them even more in against in I think it's St Mary's ground. I think hopefully now, as the saying, she has some power issues over there at the minute, so that's a bit worrying, isn't it? Oh.
Really emotional, guys.
yeah, she just got really emotional. It's the second half of the show, you see. So
yeah.
no, but we'll get obviously we've touched on it throughout a little bit, but the fans' topic was building for Champions League, and at least Mark knows what to never say after an interview. But I mean, the main way to start this, as we look at it, is who's at a contract this season. So obviously, you think about the squad. I mean, Namrata set it up perfectly, really, and maybe you want to take it a little bit on as well. Namrata, out of contract at the minute is Lucy Staniforth and Martha Harris. Players with an option to take up: Anna Bajet, Alicia Russo, Millie Turner, and Ivana Fuso. Possibly Jackie as well, but there's a bit cloak and dagger on the way that was announced. And unknown status is Kirsty Smith and Katie Zalem. Let's be honest. There's a couple of players in there that aren't the right standard, so we need to get rid of them to build for Champions League, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. I think a few players will definitely get new contracts if they haven't, or the extension. I think Zelen definitely will get one. I think Alessia Russo, I'm hoping, and I think it will be great if she gets a new contract. Millie Turner, I think she will also play with us for a long time now, and I think the two really big ones is really Jackie and Ona, because I think they're just two such important pivotal figures for our team. So I'm not really sure. It's a 50-50 right now. We've heard stories that especially with Ona, we've heard stories recently that she had that 1-year extension clause, and United, it's up to United if they want to extend. But I think, if another club comes in, if Barcelona comes in and offers some prize money, which they think, transfer fee, which they think is good enough, they'll let her go. We anyway knew she's not going to stay for a really long time because, she's kind of destined to go there to Barcelona one day. But really hope we can get one more year out of her at least. Jackie's something, it's anybody's guess right now. But I think Mark Skinner's comments about her haven't really filled me with confidence. I just feel like she doesn't. I feel really heartbroken about this, but I sometimes get the feeling that she's not as loved in the team right now from a playing perspective as she was under Casey. So I think she still really appreciates the fans, but she's not getting minutes. She's getting subbed every single game, so not a really good look for her. And she can do so much better. I'm pretty sure she can, if she decides right now to go to another club, she'll be playing every match. So I'm really not sure about that one. I think Alessia will sign a new contract. I think Martha Harris, Kirsty Smith, I think both of them will probably be leaving, and Fran Bentley and Rambo, probably they'll come back and they'll probably be sent out alone again. And Lucy Stan, she's been injured actually for the most part of the 2 years that she's been here. So I don't know if she has another year on her contract, but if she has, I do think United will give her another chance. Not really sure if I've missed anybody now.
No, we've covered the majority of it there. I mean, Maisy, you said about how Jackie doesn't fit currently with what Mark's doing a lot of the time. My big worry, and by the way, just to be clear, Jackie and Honor and Alessia are not the players I was referring to. Martha Harris was definitely one of the players that I was referring to, as unfortunately needs to be moved on. But my concern is that if we sell Jackie, we get 3 mediocre squad players in, and that would be us moving backwards, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it could be potentially moving backwards, but you also need to think of, you look at squads, some of them do have squad players, but they work well in the team. They get us them results. You've seen the history of Manchester United. You look at players what Sir Alex Ferguson used to have, like the likes of like Nana, Anderson. They're squad players for me, but they made the impact at the club. So, and as much as Jackie, she is going to be such a big loss. I would love Jackie to stay. Honestly, I would really, really love that, because she is one of my favourite players there at the club also. But if she doesn't want to stay and she wants to move on, if that was, for instance, another WSL team somewhere abroad, so she can get the full 90 minutes, it won't be fair for Manchester United to dampen on that and say, right, you've got to sign this contract extension with us right now. Let her go if that is what she prefers. Just because whoever we bring in is going to be a squad player doesn't necessarily mean for me they're going to be a bad squad player. They could be an impactful squad player.
Yeah, and I think with Mark, I mean, I go so hot and cold with him sometimes. Sometimes I think he's great. Sometimes I think he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But I think one of the things that I do worry about is he has an obsession with his Birmingham days. Anyone who's vaguely walked through the door at Birmingham, he's got a note when he was manager. He's sort of got an eye on. Now I know familiarity helps, but I'm not sold on Jane Moore yet, and maybe we've got her a bit late. I know she's been injured for a long, long time. But I do worry that it's like anybody, we'll ignore all this data, but if you're in that, not exactly that famous, if you were in that FA Cup final, achieving Birmingham City team, and you're available, you get a free ticket to United. And it's just a weird mentality to sort of have. Partly because I don't want Born Offside to come as well, because Ellen White was obviously the striker in his team. I mean, for me, before I'm being Atanu in, I think it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I agree with Namrata. I think we've got one. I love Honor. She's on the back of my shirt. She's one of the coolest people. She's a fantastic player. She scores in a position where, let's be honest, there's not much pressure to score as a defender, but she does score some great goals. But we probably have only got her for one more year. So before Barcelona come knocking, and because obviously when she turns 23, that €500,000 sort of, if she goes back to Spain, you got to pay it from Levante disappears. So she turns 23 in June. So technically they could squeeze it in this season, but more likely it's going to be next year. And that's fair enough. That might be an interesting one for another show, that Levante trained her a lot of the time, which is apparently why they put that figure on her, is to get some of her money back if she ends up going to another big Spanish club before she turns 23. But yeah, I think Atanu, I don't think it's being, some of you might think I'm being a bit harsh here, but as I've said in other clubs, other times, Casey set up a great team for the Championship. Certain players have proven their ability to be at the top level of the WSL. And, nobody would talk about getting rid of Tooney. Nobody would talk about getting rid of Alicia Russo, Mary Ertz, etc. Other players, they're just not at our standard. And I appreciate that Martha Harris was an original OG 21. But what's she still doing here?
Difficult one to answer because I'm not in the recruitment team. But yes, I think Yeah, I'm speechless because even I don't know what's happening. But yes, I think we need to offload some players. Martha Harris might be one of them. I really like Kirsty Smith. I do not want Kirsty Smith to leave because we have seen those those instances where she has played really well. But
Yeah.
another injury crisis, like she's very injury prone. So half the time she isn't available. So that it's better to have.
Is this a positive? Is this the agent speech? Well, she's kind of injury prone, and half the time she's not available. Sorry, why should I keep her again?
No, but maybe that's just my bias. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think availability has to be the key factor. So I think Kirsty Smith also leaves. Lucy Staniforth, I think we've seen some good games from her, but another injury-prone player, so I think she also might leave. So three players offloading, but it's like the priority has to be on signing contract extensions, because if players like Jackie Grown and Una
Yeah.
Bhatia end up leaving, we are taking 3 or 4 steps back. We should be taking 2 or 3 steps forward. So that's a step in the wrong direction.
I think.
With
Go on.
with Ona, yeah, go on, Andy.
No, I think if Ona and Jackie leaves, the person who'll be taking 3 and 4 steps back will be Mark Skinner, as me and Nat chasing around the pitch. For his inability to keep two of the top players. But yeah, I'll bring it to Maisy. I suppose I lost my train a little bit there, but if you've only got Honor for 1 year, does it matter if she is used to get us into Champions League in a much stronger position next season, or used in maybe our maiden campaign that might not go as far as we would like, because she's only going to be there 1 year anyway?
To be honest, we need to look at strengthening the team, and Honor for me is a player who we do want to keep at Manchester United. I love her. I think she's class. She's got that little bit of swag on her, which I like it. It's groovy. But we need to try and persuade her as much as possible to stay at Manchester United. Of course, if she wants to go Barcelona, let her go to Barcelona. But the only problem is, if Honor decides I want to go to Barcelona now, is this going to be another LJ situation where she is just going to be sat on the bench at Barcelona, not even on the bench, and then she's just waiting for them a couple of seasons? Instead of that, she might as well just stay at Manchester United for a season, 2, whatever, help us with our development. And whilst, of course, we know that if Honor goes, right, okay, I'll sign this 1 year deal, next year I want to go to Barcelona, fair enough. But then this should be then Manchester United's opportunity then to look for an actual fullback. We've seen how Mark Skinner plays, and I always think that Mark Skinner relies more on his fullbacks than he does in his midfield, his number 10s, to try and get something out of it. And this is why we see a lot of Hannah Blundell and Honor going forward more than we do see defensive aspects of them both. But I think that if she does want to go and she decides on a 1 year deal, Manchester United need to be very smart in terms of their recruitment. I look for, I would actually argue, a world class fullback, just because with the way Mark Skinner plays. Because if we're going to have a fullback, we need to make sure that, just like Niamh Murphy from the academy, I know it's going to be a big, massive jump for Niamh Murphy. But we need someone like Niamh Murphy, who is already world class, who's got the package, who is able to do a bit of both. We can't have one who can just do one but not the other. And that's what I do. I think with the fullbacks we do currently have, they're a lot better. I think Connor can do both. Yeah. But I think with Hannah Blundell, she is a lot more better at going forward. I think Kirsty Smith is a lot more better in the defensive than she is at going forward, in my opinion, anyway. And we need someone like Honor who could do both, and like Niamh Murphy who could do both.
Because Atanu looks so cuddly and very sort of soft and hard to tell bad news. I can't imagine you telling Martha or whoever that they got to move on. Diane Caldwell.
Oh.
Why are you doing this to me, Andy? Why?
Well, let me tell you where I am a little bit. I've got to sound like Dragon's Den there, don't I? Let me tell you where I am. I think she's a great player. I think she's a brilliant attitude. She's literally the female version of Roy Keane. She, loves the club, bleeds United, and it's fantastic. And has given, and before she got injured, it was a great opportunity for her to live her dreams. And unfortunately, she didn't get to play at Old Trafford. But unfortunately, sometimes we arrive at things a bit too late. And I personally think I wouldn't renew. I think you would need, somebody a bit younger. And I'm not trying to wind you up.
I would renew.
You're looking very upset with me now. I with her thanks, and help her with her coaching badges, help her out find another team if she's not ready to retire, but and give her the love that she deserves. But in my opinion, I don't think so for next year if we're in the Champions League.
I think I would renew, just because I think we won't be going after a centre back. There are many other aspects in the team where we need to focus. So I would prefer focusing on more midfielders, because we've seen under Mark that he likes to have more and more midfielders in his team. I would like to get a striker in. I would like to get 2 or 3 wingers in. So, Namrata, what's your point, please?
rescue your countryman, Namrata.
I absolutely disagree with Atanu, man. We need. I think
we won't be going after a centre back.
I let him complete his entire sentence. I'll just say that we've been looking for a quality centre back for 3 seasons now.
I don't think, that's just my perspective, that centre back isn't on the priority list, like at the top of the priority list. There are various other positions that we need to strengthen on before we focus on the centre back position. Yes, I would love to have a new centre back in. Of course, a young centre back is always preferred, who's available every time. But given the chance, I would maybe it's just the biased part that just because she's a United fan. But I think there are, like I've mentioned, I would love to have a fullback, a central defensive midfielder, because I think Hayley Ladd and Jade Moore won't suffice the CDM position. We need another central defensive midfielder. We need one or two more midfielders in, because I think Lucy Stanforth will leave and another midfielder will leave. And wingers, we do not have any wingers except Leah Golton and Kirsty Hansen. So wingers, 2 or 3 wingers, strikers. So we are looking at a big overhaul. And with everything that's been going on with the men's team, with the football director focused too much on that part, it'll be a difficult summer. So that's the main reason that I'm saying renew Diane Caldwell.
But she's, I don't know how old she is. I'll look how old she is, Maisy. What's your view on it?
For me, in terms of Diane, as much as I do like Diane, I couldn't renew a contract just due to her age. I think she's been absolutely brilliant in terms of what she has done for the club. She's a lover of Manchester United. But for me, I just feel like we need to look at someone who's about to hit the prime. In my opinion, we need to be a bit ahead of the game. We need to be like the big teams in the WSL who are looking at players in the prime. This is why these teams are successful. This is why they have long-term plans. And as much as I do love Diane, is she a long-term plan? And the answer to that is just as Andy said, no, she is not a long-term plan. She's a one-year plan at best. And if we are wanting to get the Champions League, if we are wanting to win the Champions League one day, if we're wanting to win the WSL, if we want to be like Chelsea and win the treble, Diane is not the answer for me. I do think, though, we do need to look at a centre-back in this transfer window. It's not necessarily my priority, because I do feel like a priority for me is a winger. I do think a fullback's a priority as well. But I do think a centre-back is also up there, just for the reason that we've had so many injuries. Mannion is quite injury prone for me. Millie Turner has had such an unfortunate injury there as well. The only person who has really been not injured is Maria Farr. So I'm not too sure why, to be honest.
So I'm not saying extend her contract for 2-3 years. I'm just saying that
You
just
sure?
one more year. And
No, go on. No, you're right. She's 34 in September, and the thing is as well. I mean, she is a great United fan, and to be honest, I would say, if you want to go all American X Factor about it, if she would probably take a step back if it meant that we do well next year in the Champions League, because she's such a United fan. So, as I say, I'm not saying, send her on the next flight back to Ireland. Give us, if she wants to go in the media, give us some media training. If she wants to do a coach, give us some coaching training. Give her opportunities. Use all the contacts in Man United. Do a great big goodbye. Do an exit interview like I did for Ollie. I don't care. Something on those lines. But I think as fans, we have to see it as a club to go forward. And we are emotionally connected maybe more than once because we formed so recently ago, but we've got to be a bit more ruthless, haven't we, Namrata? Though I think from what me, Namrata, and Maisy have been saying, it's not that difficult for us, but we've got to bring you forward, Atanu. But what's your final bit on it, Namrata?
I think are you able to hear me all right?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, good. So about Diane Carroll, I love her. I was one of the people who said I would love if she scored at Old Trafford. It was really sad she wasn't able to play, but she has actually done really well under the circumstances. She came in at a difficult time, played against all the top teams. And she's been carrying on well. The only question here is that if Mannion and Millie were fit, we would not even be seeing that because she wouldn't be playing. She would be fourth choice at centre back. And, all the discussion that we're having right now, we wouldn't even be having it. And next season, Millie is going to hopefully, fingers crossed, she's healthy. She's going to come back. Mannion will be hopefully back from her ACL. We'll have Thor back. So we'll have 3 centre backs. And for me, actually, centre back is a huge priority because I really think that if you have a solid centre back, and you have Mannion who's playing really well, but if you have a really solid centre back, that sets a huge foundation, right? A lot of goals that we shipped in, it's laughable. And if you have somebody who's really controlling in that area, you can really transform the team. Fullback is definitely something that we need if Ona leaves, because if you set your mind back 2 years before she came to United, she has come to United, and from day one she's looked like she's been here forever. But before her, we used to have a fullback. We used to have Martha Harris and Kirsty Smith, and they were less said about it, the better. But I don't want to go back to those.
The clue away.
Sorry?
I think the fact you started laughing that gave the clue away before you said the name.
I don't want to go back to that time, guys, because I think Amy Turner had to play right back for half a season because our fullbacks weren't able to cope, and I really don't want to go back. I've kind of got used to not worrying about our fullbacks, and a lot of that is because of Ona. If she starts at left back, and if you see that the other one is struggling because of the player they're defending, you just switch flanks. You switch Ona to right back, she'll do well. You switch her to left back, she's extremely versatile. And if she's leaving, we definitely need to have a really world-class player there, because I remember the dark days when our fullbacks weren't good enough, and I have nightmares from that time. So I think centre back, full back, one midfielder. I don't think we're going to sign a lot of midfielders because we're a bit midfield heavy already. I think probably one midfielder and one winger. So four players in. I think that is what we're going to have this window, and who knows what Mark Skinner is going to do. Maybe we'll get a goalkeeper.
We've only got 4. We could do with another 5.
Yeah.
I'm getting a shaking head at Atanu here, but I'm very go on. I'll have to push it for one more, Atanu. What are you shaking your head on?
I mean, yes, Namrata does have a good point that when we have a good centre back line, even when Mannion and Turner were available, we did good. But when a new centre back comes, can we guarantee her the game time that Caldwell or Thoris daughter got now when Mannion and Turner are fit? I don't
If
think
she's
so.
good,
And
she
when
will. If
Yeah.
she's
so
good,
then
she will.
so then the question is, will when the new centre back comes in, will the likes of Turner, Thoris daughter, or Mannion, whosoever gets shifted down the pecking order, would they want to leave? So because
Yes.
rotation when it comes to centre back is quite less than it should be when we what we have seen under Mark Skinner. I think most of the injuries that we have seen for the centre backs maybe come down to the fatigue issues, but
Mm.
injury crisis. What can we do? Uh, I mean, yes, a centre back can come, but that's not the priority in my opinion.
You know what
It's
helps with
it's
fatigue?
six.
You know what helps with
Yeah.
fatigue? Being younger. Trust me, I can I can tell you that for fun. No, no, I get the point. I'll bring you Maisy in as well. I mean, Diane, if we're going to be in Champions League, obviously WSL. Actually, the Continental Cup will be easier this next year because we'd get quarters if we're in Champions League at group stage level, but that'd be free. And FA Cup, we need someone who can do more games than possibly should be able to do as well, don't we?
Yeah, we need someone for me who is always going to be at the back of call. Like who's always going to be fully fit, and this is sometimes what is an issue at Manchester United is our fitness levels at times.
Yeah.
We've seen at the end of last season, the middle of last season, where we was picking up them injuries and we went from first to fourth in the end. You of course are seeing it now where we have got CDM issues, we have got centre back issues because we're picking up them many injuries, and this is the only problem. I know the players who we get are brilliant. They may be Manchester United fans, but we also need to get someone who is always going to be available. And this is what really hurts me about Mannion as well, because this is what a second ACL injury.
Yeah.
And ACL injuries, sometimes they can take you into retirement if you end up picking up these injuries and you get these little minor ones what turn out to be a little bit more. And but I think if we are going to get these type of players, perhaps maybe we need to assess these injury prone players in a different kind of way. Try and help their fitness levels differently, maybe have a different kind of training regime just so we can prevent these injuries, because we're not going to be able to compete in Champions League at all with these injuries, that's for sure.
Yeah, and people might say we've gone negative. I don't think, I don't think we're just sort of pointing out some of the elements that need to be improved for next season. And at the end of the day, poor Atanu, I think the guy's going to be crying. What time is it in India now? Is it past midnight, isn't it? So you're going to be crying yourself to sleep tonight. I do hope not.
No sleep. I'll be coming with a comeback response very soon.
Oh, well, all I would say is, you see adverts on TV, don't you? About various sort of sanctuaries and rehabilitation centres, and Manchester United Women is not one of them. We are not running. Obviously give our girls the best support we can, and we do that by sharing Carrington, and any further developments in that area will benefit the women. But I think we've been very lucky to have some great players, but I think some of them will go into the history books, like Martha Harris, please, this season. Others, I think it's funny because I think there could be a question about psychology. If we lose Honor and or Jackie, then I think that's going to hit us more psychologically from the fans and from where are we as a team. Even if you could maybe make a technical argument that Jackie doesn't fit, but Jackie not fitting because we've got people that shouldn't be there, or is it Jackie not fitting because Jackie doesn't fit? I think we need to keep one of those two players at the very least, and we need to build on it for Champions League next season, which I appreciate is still up in the air. I'll ask you one final question as we go around then, because I appreciate we've gone over, but I was enjoying the battle royale between Namrata and Atanu. Though I think there's a clear winner there. I'll let everyone else decide who that might have been. No.
Can you put a poll in the comments? Who was better?
No, that's a bit mean. This is it, you know. I think Atanu might wish you were still on holiday, Maisy, because then he would have took you. No, only joking.
Everybody has ganged up on me together. Andy, Maisy, and Namrata have conspired against me today.
Yeah. Nice to Atanu. We've been really nice.
It's just so easy. It's just so easy. No,
so join the Diane Caldwell extension bandwagon right now.
It's not really a bandwagon. It's you and a tuk-tuk, and she's sitting on the back. To be honest, it's not that big.
I think we need one more episode just to discuss this because we run out of time.
I think so, but I think, as I said, it's gone in a different direction, and I hope she is well loved, and and I hope people understand that. I'll be gutted when she retires, which will probably be at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But then saying that, Jill Scott's knocking about at 35, so maybe Atanu will be coming around in September and going, "Hi guys, look, they renewed," but we'll have to find out. So, final question then, which will obviously come back to you, but just for the show, do you think we'll get Champions League this season, starting with Maisy?
Oh, you ask me first, don't you?
Just because Atanu's got to emotionally regulate himself, he's getting a bit emotional. And
I did originally think yes, but I'm going to go no. I think we'll miss out on goal difference.
Oh, okay. And I'll have to.
I'm a little negative person, of course, but we've dropped points where we shouldn't have dropped points this season. This was our best opportunity to get Champions League football, knowing the way Manchester City was at the start of the season. But we have dropped points against Everton. We dropped points against Spurs. And when you're only scoring one goal against the Brightons and you're getting draws out of West Ham's, you're not gonna get this Champions League football. This league in particular is such a narrow league. One game could affect could affect the league, Champions League, relegation. That's how tight it is. And if you are wanting to be in the best cup competition in Europe, you are needing to beat the Chelseas, Arsenals, and Manchester Cities in your own league, and we haven't been able to do that at all.
Namrata?
I desperately want us to get into Champions League. I think it's a little bit difficult because I think even if we beat Chelsea, right, the goal difference is going to be huge. And, that's definitely not a match that you can stat pad. We've never won against Chelsea. It's an uphill battle already. And as I said, I'm not sure if we're ready for Champions League. We'll probably, if we qualify for Champions League, and unless we have wholesale changes in the squad, we're looking at probably getting there, maybe not even getting into group stages based on what we have. And I just feel that Champions League at this point in time, the only positive that we'll have is that we'll be able to attract a different quality of player that we wouldn't if we didn't get in. So in recruitment terms, I think it'd be amazing to get there, but I don't think the team is ready right now. I would love it if we got it on the final day of the season. We defeat Chelsea, the scenes, can you imagine? But yeah, I have my doubts.
Atanu?
We will get Champions League. I think City will drop points. I'm sure that they will drop points either against Reading or Brighton. I'm just using my juju to put some dark magic into the Manchester City's form. So yes, they will drop points, and we won't be needing the GD. They would have lost, so we would have qualified by 3 points.
Well, that's interesting. I'd love that to happen. You know what? I'll stick with what I said a while ago. I do think that they're going to drop points somewhere. I'm not necessarily think they're going to lose. They might draw a game, maybe against Reading. But the problem is we also might do the same. I can see that happening again, like what happened last season. I would say, I want to end on. I want to end on a positive. I promise. Right, there's two clear routes. This is one of these will definitely happen. You can play the tape back in May, right? One of them will definitely happen. We'll either miss out on Champions League on goal difference, but finally beat Chelsea, and then that will break the psychological barrier of beating Chelsea. We would have beaten all the top three, and we'll definitely get it next year. Or City will draw one of their last games. We will either beat or draw Chelsea and just scrape it, and then all bets are off for next year. Is that positive? Can we end on that?
As positive as you can be.
Well, yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's been maybe a bit longer than we thought, but I think it's just been a testament to how great this conversation's been and the quality of the panel that we've had tonight, and the guys following along in the comments as well. Like and subscribe both on Twitter and on YouTube. It really helps us out to give the content that you want from dedicated actual United fans. Atanu, where do we find you to bully further? I mean, to discuss things further.
My Twitter @Atanu_74. Join the Diane Corwin bandwagon, everyone.
Yeah, well, we are till this season. It just has a expiry date on it, unfortunately, of May. Maisy, obviously, I think you've sort of hinted there. Where do we find you?
Yeah, my YouTube channel's Devils United. I do Manchester United content for both the men and the women's football, but had a bit of a break because, yeah, you can see why.
You never mentioned it.
Yeah, never mentioned it. Yeah. But I'll be back next week on the channel anyway. I've got some depressing men's content, let's just say. But,
I thought you were going to say some depressing men then, but there we go.
No, of course I could never say that. But but if you want to hear just solely my opinions, my Twitter is @2_MUFC Maze.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd say we might end up doing a preview as well for
Villa. We've got Villa next week as well, so interesting.
Namrata, now everyone's shown your how you can hold your own against Atanu. Where do they find you?
Yeah, my Twitter handle is Namrata_YTV, and I would just like to clarify again. I really love Dan Galbraith, but send him like.
I do as well. And I think everyone knows where to find me. As I say, I remind everyone, it is my personal Twitter account, so it isn't all United content, but a lot of it is on there. And obviously at the minute it's @AJO_87. So yeah, thanks for everyone's time tonight. Thanks for the great debate, great chat. It's been brilliant. And everyone who's followed on in the comments and maybe listening later on as well. And let's go on for next week and let's start that Champions League run that hopefully we'll end up getting. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.